There's a comfortable lie that almost everyone believes, that being a good person is enough to win. It isn't. The world doesn't reward intention. It rewards strategic intelligence. And the sooner you accept this truth, the less you'll suffer from the gap between perception versus reality. Maybe you've been taken advantage of even while being honest. Maybe you trusted too much. Maybe you worked hard and watched someone smarter take the credit. That pain isn't random. It's a lack of strategic reading of the game. Prudence isn't coldness, it's maturity. And strategic survival isn't evil, it's awareness. Today you're going to learn 8 cruel, uncomfortable, and deeply liberating lessons. Some will challenge your beliefs. Others will expose naïveté you didn't even know you had. But if you stay until the end, something will shift. The way you observe people, conflicts, and opportunities will never be the same. Because deep down, the world doesn't belong to the strongest. It belongs to those who understand what's really happening behind appearances. He learned early that strategic intelligence begins where illusion ends. There's no point sugarcoating it. Perception versus reality rarely align. While many prefer to believe what comforts them, he chooses to see what is. Is it harsh? Yes. But that's where prudence is born. Accepting brutal reality isn't pessimism, it's strategic survival. When he lost an important opportunity at work, he could have blamed his boss, the system, internal politics. But he chose something more uncomfortable, to coldly analyze his own mistakes. He sat down, reviewed his decisions, asked for direct feedback, even when it hurt. That silent observation applied to your own life. Those who practice it evolve fast. Those who avoid it repeat the same cycle. He understands that the world doesn't operate based on intention, but on results. It doesn't matter how much someone meant to do the right thing. What matters is what was actually done. That clarity creates a massive advantage. By abandoning fantasies, he begins to read the game as it truly is. And when perception versus reality stops being a conflict and becomes a tool, something shifts. Because accepting the truth is only the first shock. The next step is learning how to use what hurts. He stopped treating pain as an enemy when he realized it was actually a detailed report of his own evolution. While many run from discomfort, he began to face it as raw information, valuable data for his strategic intelligence. Every frustration revealed a miscalculation between perception versus reality. Every rejection exposed a blind spot. And interestingly, the more he analyzed pain with prudence, the less it controlled him. Once, after losing a major professional opportunity, he did something unusual. He wrote down everything he felt, then listed the decisions that led him there. No drama, no self-pity. It was pure silent observation applied inward. He realized he had overestimated fragile alliances and underestimated obvious risks. The pain wasn't punishment, it was a map. And those who learn to read that map develop real strategic survival, because they begin anticipating what once surprised them. He often says pain is like a gym for the mind. Nobody enjoys it at first, but it strengthens what was once weak. When someone transforms suffering into cold analysis, something changes internally. It's not about becoming stone, but about using every impact as fuel. Asking, what is this teaching me about people, power, and decisions? And when that question becomes a habit, the next skill that emerges is understanding deeply the people around you, and that changes the game completely. He realized something that changes everything. Whoever wants to dominate people must first dominate themselves. But domination not in the sense of manipulation like a movie villain. Rather, understanding patterns, motivations, hidden fears, and desires. True strategic intelligence is born when someone observes the gap between perception versus reality in human behavior. What people say is rarely what they truly want. And those who develop silent observation begin noticing subtle fractures. He used to test this in simple situations. In meetings, he spoke less and listened more. While others competed for attention, he analyzed micro-expressions, tone shifts, hesitations. He learned a lot reading The 48 Laws of Power by Robert Greene, and How to Win Friends and Influence People by Dale Carnegie. Not to copy techniques, but to understand psychological structures. He applied prudence before reacting, strengthening his strategic survival. Because understanding others' emotions means predicting future moves. Over time, he realized every person carries three versions: the one they show, the one they believe they are, and the one they truly are. And it's in the friction between these versions that conflicts, alliances, and opportunities emerge. When someone learns to see beyond words, they begin anticipating betrayals, identifying real loyalty, and avoiding social traps. It's not magic, it's behavioral reading. And ironically, the more he understood others, the more he realized he needed to structure his own moves. He understood that understanding people was only half the game. The other half was organizing moves with almost surgical coldness. True strategic intelligence requires alignment between intention and direction. Because when perception versus reality misalign, you think you're advancing, but you're just moving. And movement without direction exhausts and confuses. He learned to plan like someone playing chess in silence. Before accepting a project, he asked, "What is the real objective? What are the invisible risks? Who benefits more than I do?" This practice of silent observation prevented emotional decisions. Applying prudence across scenarios strengthened his strategic survival. He discovered that no plan survives if emotion governs the critical moment. Most people lose not from lack of skill, but lack of internal control. Strategic intelligence flourishes when emotion becomes directed energy, not reaction. He created a 30-minute rule before responding in anger, sometimes 24 hours. That discipline changed negotiations, relationships, and finances. He realized force doesn't come from imposition, it comes from understanding. When he faced a difficult negotiation, instead of pushing harder, he asked better questions. He uncovered hidden pressures and transformed tension into alliance. To Prudence. That's silent observation with prudence. Information outweighs aggression, and comprehension amplifies strategic survival. He also learned that action alone isn't enough. Perception matters. In the social game, whoever controls the narrative controls part of the power. Perception versus reality can build reputations, or destroy them. So he refined how he communicated value, structured presentations like stories, and aligned perception with truth. He built a ritual of weekly reflection. Every Sunday night, what worked? Where did prudence fail? Where was silent observation absent? Reflection turned experience into conscious growth. Without reflection, growth becomes repetition disguised as effort. Now answer honestly. How many times did you lose because you trusted too much? How many times did impulse replace prudence? The difference between living on autopilot and living with strategic intelligence is your willingness to face perception versus reality without filters. You have two options now: return to the comfort of naïveté, or practice silent observation, apply strategic survival, and take control of your narrative. The world won't change to make things easier, but you can change how you see and play the game. So tell me, which lesson exposed your weakness the most? In what situation did you realize strategy was missing? Comment below. And if this opened your mind, subscribe and turn on notifications, because here, you don't learn pretty phrases. You learn how to think dangerously.